Welcome, Judge Joy. Thank you for being here today. I was wondering if you could maybe introduce a little bit more about the HerStory Campaign and of our nominees and awardees of this campaign.
Good afternoon, Talia. Welcome also to the Philippines. I understand that you had a wonderful time the past few days knowing more of the Philippines and, of course, the PWJA and the Supreme Court. With regard to the HerStory Gender Award distinction, it was initially launched way back in 2022, and it was initiated by the Committee on Gender Responsiveness in the Judiciary, the CGRJ. And with the initial launching, there were selected judges and justices, female judges and justices, who were invited to share their journey through life, how they rose from the ranks, their challenges, their barriers, and opportunities that came along their way, and how they became either as a judge or justice. And in 2023, the Philippine Women Judges Association then collaborated with the launching now of the first batch of winners of the HerStory Gender Award of Distinction. And we have invited today actually 5, 2 from the original launching in 2022, and 3 from the first batch of winners, a nominee, a runner-up, and the winner of the 2023 HerStory Gender Award of Distinction. So you will meet them this afternoon and you will get to know more about their story.
My name is Jehan Sampawasiman, and currently I'm the presiding judge of the Family Court in Pasay City. So prior to being a family court judge, I started, when I passed the bar in 2005, I immediately joined the government and became a litigation lawyer for the Department of Agrarian Reform, where I handle the cases of the agrarian reform beneficiaries. And after that, I transferred to the Supreme Court to work as in the program management office, where we handle the foreign assisted projects, particularly the USAID. And then when I was in the Supreme Court, that was when I realized that I wanted to become a judge, because when I was in the Supreme Court, I saw the justices during the en-banc session. And then a friend suggested, if you really wanted to become like one of them, don't you think you should start working or moving towards that area? So that was the time that I resigned and tried applying as a public defender. So when I applied for the public attorney's office, after 5 years there, I transferred to the prosecution. So I was a public prosecutor for 5 years, and then in 2018, I was appointed as a family court judge.
Okay, I am Justice Selma Palacio Alaras. I'm very uncomfortable to be called Justice. Selma would be fine. I was appointed to the Appellate Court of Appeals in 2022. I have the distinction of being the first appointee to the judiciary of the current president, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. Before that, however, was a longer journey. Took me about 19 years from the trial courts to get to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals is the second highest court in the land. The highest, of course, the Supreme Court. Am I dreaming of going there? Everybody dreams of going to the Supreme Court, but that's about faith. Okay. It's been a long journey. I've spent it all in government service. I remember my father that the best service would be to serve your God and your country, and not money. And so I think that's the best place to be. trial court judge on our regional trial court for 19 years, and then Metropolitan Trial Court for 5 years. I was a prosecutor for about 5 years in Manila, and before that, I was a clerk of court in Pasay, all government service. But the best of all those years is being a 35-year journey as a law professor. So that's 35 years in my alma mater, San Beda College University.
I'm Maria Concepcion Yumang. My friends or my colleagues call me Judge Connie. I'd like to emphasize on my age. I'm 58. I've been in the judiciary since 2003. I was appointed as an MTC judge in 2003 and in the RTC of Guagua, Pampanga in 2006. So it's been quite a while in the judiciary. I've been in the judiciary for 21 years. I'm a member of the ADR department or the Alternative Dispute Resolution Department of the Philippine Judicial Academy. And I frequently lecture on stress management and other topics on mediation. I'm also one of the pilot courts of the judicial dispute resolution, which is one of the ADR mechanisms of the Philippine courts. On the other side, I'm a mother of three daughters, the two of whom have also chosen to have their careers as lawyers. And the other one, the youngest, is also a psychology major, just like me.
I am Ave Alba, presiding judge of RTC Branch 48, Masbate City. And at the same time, acting presiding judge of RTC Family Court Branch 3, Maribeles, Limay. And last August 8, 2024, I was designated as acting executive judge of RTC Limay Mariveles, Bataan. Prior to that, I have been in the government service for 38 years now. I rose from the ranks. I started as court stenographer in the judiciary. I have a friend who asked me when I was working as a judge, when I had my medical examination in a hospital in our province, Albay. She asked me, because I was a working student actually before becoming a court stenographer. You know, ma'am, we are 10 in the family. And I was the only one who finished college education. My father was not able to study in grade 1. My mother is only a grade 2. My mother died when I was 12 years old. I was the one who watched her in her deathbed. I told my mother that insofar as my college education, she should not worry because I will finish my education. And then she wake up, she opened her eyes, and after that, she died. So that was a very terrible impact on my life.
I'm Carolina de Jesus Esguerra. Okay. Currently stationed at Regional Trial Court, Branch 127, Imo City. Okay, and I am formerly a policewoman, then a prosecutor, then a lower court judge, and then a second level court judge. So I'm already in the third pillar of the criminal justice system. Okay. First pillar, the police, then the prosecution, then the courts. My brother is also a policeman. And one of my brothers also was taking criminology at that time when I was in high school. And I'm reading their books. So I'm reading the revised penal code and I'm so fascinated with the crimes. So I said that I'm going to take up criminology myself. But no initial thoughts of being a lawyer. So after the criminology stint, I was hoping to enter master's. And then my brother said, why don't you go to law school instead? And of course, my mother wants to be a lawyer herself. And she is the motivation why I wanted to become a lawyer to fulfill her dream.
What do you think are the biggest challenges, first, that you faced in your role as a judge?
Money.
Money. That's an important one. Yes.
Lack of money.
Yes.
Lack of books. That time you do not have Google, do not have Facebook or internet for that matter. You have to photocopy. You photocopy only part by part. And then at the end of the semester, you have it bookbind.
When I was appointed as a judge, it was the work and family life balance. It was difficult because I had 3 daughters then. I was pregnant actually when when I entered the judiciary. So just the mere fact of traveling to the courts here in the Philippines is so difficult. There were personal matters in my life that I had to encounter family separation, and then I had to go as a judge. I had to undergo nullity of marriage and and cases of violation of abuse against women and children. And in 2020, at the time of the pandemic, uh, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So these challenges were I encountered during my.
For me, as a setback, I think would be the religion. Coming from being a Muslim, especially in a Catholic-dominated or a majority, it's a Catholic country, so it's quite difficult. So especially when you are applying here in Metro Manila, especially as a lawyer without any like experience, and then they see that you're wearing a veil, so it's like a double whammy for me. So they would I remember one experience when I was applying for a law firm, and then one of the partners there saw me wearing my veil or hijab, and then I remember distinctly remember the saying that, "Do you think you could work or appear in court wearing that?" When I was telling that story to my friend, I should have remembered the name of the lawyer. So in case that he goes to court, I would tell him, see. So it was like actual path because if I was accepted there, probably I wouldn't have been appointed as a judge. So the path going to becoming a judge, actually, the rejection helped me because it made me, I was not accepted in private practice. So I joined a government service.
Well, I have to admit that when I was appointed as a judge, I looked quite young. So they probably thought I didn't know anything, but being a professor, you probably know something. And so it's trying to prove to them that you know what you're doing, especially when the rules are to some are not they're not aware of some rules because these are the first level court rules, and so you have to instruct them, and it's all in summary procedure, and so that's a little bit difficult. And plus, of course, tons of cases. Our dockets are impossible. Just to reduce them is really backbreaking. I used to go to office on a Saturday, even on a Sunday, just to finish the work so that it won't be overdue. And then the RTC when I was promoted to the RTC, it's in Makati. That is the Central Business District. That was 19 years. It was a good journey. I learned a lot. I make sure that as a judge, I don't just act as a judge. I should learn from the people I am with, from the lawyers who appear before me. I learned a lot from my staff, from the witnesses, from the everybody else. So it's not as if you're in a pedestal. It's the best way to learn is with the people, with them. So you learn it firsthand.
Kailangan ko maglinis sa comfort rooms. Nag-work ako, lahat kinukuskus ko, lahat yung mga walls, kinukuskus ko. I have to wake up as early as 3 o'clock because 7 o'clock, kailangan pumasok na sa school. But hindi yun hadlang sa amin. I was able to graduate with the highest honor. I was asked by Dr. Alita to work as secretary of the president. I recall when I was in college, the president would tell me, Abi, gawin mo ito. Pag hindi mo magawa, ayoko nang makikita pa ang pagmumukha mo. Of course, I would stand and cry. But the driver of the president would say, Abi, di ba gusto mo, you want to finish your education. If you go to Masbate, you will not be able to finish your education.
Just going a little bit more into the obstacles, in your opinion, is the biggest obstacle for a woman judge advancing in leadership roles or rising and thriving within the judiciary?
Although there are already a lot of like Muslim judges and even Muslim women who are heads of various agencies, um, we some people think that we're still an exception because majority when they see a Muslim like a woman, the first thing that would come to mind is that we're uneducated, backwards, and something like that. So when they see you, example for me, when someone see me, you're not like the other Muslims that I know. So there's already like that bias when they see you. So you're like an exception to them. What I want is not for us to be seen not as an exception, but to be the norm.
We have study leave. If you are an employee of the judiciary, they allow us to have study leave. Okay, so if you want to say you supported yourself through law school, and then afterwards, when you take the bar, they will allow you to have your study leave. Mm. That's good for the improvement of not just women in the judiciary, but for all employees of the judiciary.
Life is great, you know. When I applied in as a judge after 3 years in the PNP, I was interviewed by Honorable Justice, who is part in the GBC. Then she said, you are holding a very powerful position. Why do you want to become a judge? I told Justice, it's not really very powerful. The only consolation that I had is that when I entered in the camp, all the police officers are smiling at me. Luckily, I was appointed as presiding judge in the first level court in Daraga. While in Daraga, I was designated as acting presiding judge in another province. It will take 4 hours if you board in a pamboat or big vessel in crossing the island. I was holding 7 municipalities actually. So I will leave in the early morning. Again, 3 o'clock, you have to go to the port. Then board in the port. Then after 4 hours, you will arrive, or 2.5 hours if you pass by in San Andres. Then immediately when I arrive, I have to conduct hearings in one of the courts. Then return back to the Virac. The following day, you have to wake up again very early. Then travel again to another court.
In the Philippines, we have this notion that the mothers are the one that should take care of their children. But as judges, we have to balance. I really had the opportunity to have a work-family life balance because of the efforts of the court administrator at that time to give me the opportunity to be designated to a court near my place. So I travel 1 hour for my real court, which is in a province after where I live. But I was also designated by the court in Bulacan, where I live. So these challenges of trying to bring up my children, ages 2, 7, and 9, was quite a challenge. But because of the help also of the court administrator, it was indeed a way for me not just to bring up my children, but also to serve 2 provinces at the same time.
Probably before, but now I have to say that being a female judge or a jurist or magistrate that was never a hindrance to me. I come from a family of four girls. My mom was the eldest, and you could see how much of the Amazon blood was in our veins. We were brought up to be independent, to be leaders. And so we brought it up in everything that we did. All my sisters are all professionals and still working. And I believe that the idea is to find an opportunity and take advantage of it. If you will look at these obstacles as merely obstacles and not challenges to improve, then of course you will not improve. These are challenges brought to you for you to prevail over and to accomplish. And I believe women right now are quite empowered.
Just going to another one of the questions is, in your experience, how does diversity, whether it's religion, gender, location, play in the role of being a judge?
Judges must be aware of what they're facing. We should not be stereotyping people, putting biases. We should always be listening, and listening is not does not involve just simply listening by ear. Looking at you, looking at who accompany them when they enter the courtroom. You know, a judge is a vantage point in court. Anybody who enters the court, they'll immediately see who they are. And so when that happens, you know that this person comes with a family, with the barangay, with the town, accompanying him just to say yes, no. So you know the support system. And you'd see how they dress, how they speak. So you try to understand how you would communicate. The idea in a courtroom setting is to encourage the witness to speak out the truth. And if you don't do that, you won't get the truth. So you have to make them comfortable, which is very difficult in a courtroom setting. But you have to try to tell them that you're a friend, explain, and then try to guide the questions. Of course, their lawyers cannot ask leading questions, but the judge can clarify the questions when it stops at being leading. And so eventually the witness will calm down and be able to tell the truth. Being an advocate of alternative dispute resolution, we always encourage them to speak out and try to see if there are other ways by which we could resolve disputes instead of just sitting in a courtroom and fighting it out with each other respectfully.
First, I'd like to emphasize also the health of the judges, more of the female judges as well. Because being a cancer survivor, I have learned more that health is really wealth. You know, you cannot work if you are not healthy. So I think that with the project now of the Supreme Court emphasizing on the health and welfare of the not just the judges but also the employees, we're having now at this time until October 15, we are required now to undergo annual physical examination. So with this, the Supreme Court is able to help the employees, the judges and the employees to take care of their health, like know that the priority in serving in the judiciary is not just the service to the litigants, but also to the welfare of the employees as well. So we have also as I mentioned earlier, I've been lecturing on stress management, and this topic is incorporated in almost all of the trainings and seminars conducted by the Philippine Judicial Academy. And likewise, there is an emphasis now of Justice Mario Lopez on the mental health of the employees of the Supreme Court.
It's quite difficult first to get in to the judiciary, and then next, when you get in, for you to be promoted. Because of not really lack of professional connections, but or network rather. You must have a wider network in order for your name to always float and that the appointing authority will be familiar with your name so that you can get appointed.
I was again designated by the court to handle his cases in another province, Sorsogon. So I really do not complain, you know. In fact, some of my colleagues would say, Abi, are you crazy? Why you accept this kind of case? Court, sabi ko, no. I enjoyed my job. Masaya akong tinatanggap. That's one trait that I have that I never complain. Except, I enjoy them. Lalo na yung mga mababait yung staff. My staff is so hardworking, napakabait nila. They are very patient enough. In fact, early morning when I travel to the court, they would call me, Judge, the food is ready. It's already cold. Sabi niya, where are you? Sabi ko, okay.
How has maybe being a member of a part of the association of the Philippine Women Association of Judges, how has that helped you shape a little bit or advance in your career?
It's good to be part of a women organization wherein women helping each other women to move forward and to go up the ranks. Because this even with example without the PWJA and without this activity, there will be no platform to share and tell our story.
When I was nominated by our organization, it's an organization of women. It's called Kababaihan ng Manananggol ng Bulacan. It's a organization of lawyers in Bulacan, which is a province near near Manila. When they called my attention relative to this, I told them that there is nothing diverse about my life because I don't think that I have gender issues. I don't think that I have culture issues or anything. But I was given the opportunity to give my life or to give the story of my life relative to how I have handled the adversities of my life as a mother, as a wife, and as a judge. So I felt that the cultural diversity, because I was brought up in a region called Pangasinan. By two parents. My parents are from another region, Pampanga and Bulacan, and I studied in Baguio. So there's a rich diversity. And the cultures of these four provinces have, in fact, been embodied in me, such that this would, I believe, be of help in her story.
Yes, because it is a recognition of what we are capable of, regardless of our background, or whether you are from the elitist group or whether you are from the other side of the spectrum, then you will be able to, share how you went with it and how you dealt with it and how you were able to overcome.
I'd have to say that I haven't been given the opportunity to thank the PWJA for this privilege. It's such a privilege to be one of the pioneers in the Her Story. It's an opportunity for us to tell the people or to tell co-judges or magistrates that, we're not just this almighty lady judges in robes with a scale and a sword. We're also people. We face daily challenges. We have to prevail over them to be judges. When you go to a court, you see us in robes and you see, okay, everything is fine. But you don't know that we had to fix the house, make sure there's food on the table, or, the medicines are okay, my pets are okay. Before we go there, and when we come there, we're supposed to have this stern face that we cannot show bias. And after that, we have to work. The work doesn't stop. The work of a judge, even if it stops office hours, it's in our minds. until the case is finished. Even if the case is finished, we try to think, did I give the right decision? Did I consider every evidence is necessary? Can I live with this? Can I sleep on it?
Finishing up the interview, I just wanted to know, what advice would you give judges that right now are maybe facing a bit of challenges in rising or maybe entering as well the judicial system?
Every day, when I wake up, when I rise, I do not only put into mind my fulfillment of my judicial obligations, but I put into mind that I embody resilience not only for my children but the community as well. I want to share that there are some values, or there are some moral and social values, cultural values that each and every one would have different from the others. There are some obstacles that may arise in our life, but we have to be strong, and this strength coming from all the trials should not be meant to be just a battle, but we have to embrace it with compassion and gratitude. Because if we count our blessings and we pass through all of these adversities, life, even if challenging, would be a life full of blessings and compassion.
Commitment to the dispensation of justice, no, and upholding always the rule of law, because women judges sometimes are perceived to be too strict, no, too strict, or so objectivity in dispensing justice.
It would be nice to be able to pave the way to see other Muslim judges to be appointed, not just only in Mindanao, but also in the main capital, like in the NCR. Because currently here in Metro Manila, I am the only Muslim female judge. So hopefully there'll be more of us. And right now, there's one Court of Appeal Justice, Justice Umpa. She's also the first Muslim woman justice. Okay, so we're getting there, and hopefully there'll be more of us.
Life is too short. I would always say, every time that I encountered a lot of trials, I would always pray. I said, Lord, help me to remember that I will pass this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let we do it now, let we not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. Amen. That is the very legacy that I want to share with any woman who wants to become a judge, who wants to rise from adversity. Na kung ano ang magagawa natin ngayon, gawin na natin. Huwag na natin hintayin yung bukas kasi baka hindi na yung darating.
You have to remember that being a judge is service. It's not just prestige. It's not even money. It's service to God and country. The moment you're sure of what you're going to do, there's not going to be any problem. Your ethics will be well placed. Your morals will be high up there. You won't even question yourselves. People will not have a right to question what you're doing if you've established yourself as a competent, morally upright person. And this can be seen by everyone. So you don't have to go strutting around telling everyone who you are. When you enter the room, your aura comes in. Everybody sees you and say, that's a good judge.